Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another match preview. This is for Sheffield United versus QPR. Kickoff 7:45 tomorrow, aka Tuesday, at beautiful downtown Bramall Lane. Unfortunately, there will be no watch along for this one, but the guys will be back in action for the Stoke game on Saturday. Let us know if you're enjoying the watch alongs as well. Let us know in the comments. Because the guys are putting in a lot of effort. They are really, really enjoying themselves. Chad told me earlier on how much he's enjoying doing them. So let them know if you're enjoying them doing them also. Now, I'm going to do something slightly different, and excuse me for being a little bit YouTube-y, but in most preview videos this season, we've had over 100 likes. So let's try and get 100 likes on this video because the last couple have been kind of 60s, 70s, 80s. So let's try and get 100 likes. So if you're watching this live or even afterwards, make sure you like it. Let's try and get to 100, if not more. So I'll reference that in the next preview. But I'm going to bring him in. We've got Ollie yet again. No Hal. How are you enjoying being actually probably the man that's on this channel the most at the moment?
Yeah, I seem to have been on every day. I'm sure I'm enjoying it a lot more than the viewers are. But they'll have the opportunity to not have to listen to me tomorrow because I think you'll be back for your match reaction, won't you?
I will be, yes. And I am in another box, actually. Another box. Well, the same box as last time, but I am in another box, which the guys who sit with me normally give me a lot of stick for that. And once I got a selfie with my missus, so we're like, okay, cheers, lads, thanks for that. But no, we won the last time. Me and Hal were in a box. I'm going to be in the box on my lonesome from the Sheffield United way. We beat Reading last time 4-0, and I missed one of the goals because I was chin-wagging and drinking beer.
Scandalous, that, Nick. Absolutely scandalous. But I've noticed now, you're going in a box, you're doing YouTube intros. You've changed, man. You've changed.
I have. I apologize about that. And also, what I need to do before we go any further, a big shout to Parrot Peel. As always, go and check out their new album, Stick or Twist. They are absolute legends, and a lot of them are blades. Also, big shout out to NordVPN, as always, the legends that they are. Do really, really bits on this channel. They really do. And finally, the guys that do bits are the guys who are members. And do you know what I'm going to do this time? Last time, I popped it up on screen, got through about 11 names, and then that was it, and I turned it off. So I'm going to leave it all the way through, even if we've moved on. So all you need to do to be a member is click the join button if you're on Android or desktop. It's £4.99, and you'll be supporting the boys. Now, I think it's time to talk about the last game. Now, the Blades were finished 1-1. I was going to say 1-0. I'm just so used to the Blades winning games of football.
Yeah, it would have been nice. I think if we can rewrite history and say we won 1-0, that'd be class. I'm sure Birmingham wouldn't mind too much either. They'll just give us them points. That'll not be a problem. But yeah, unfortunately, no. A relatively disappointing 1-1. Quite a frustrating afternoon, I have to say. I've calmed down now, but I was frustrated Saturday evening.
Yeah, I think we had a chat before the prediction video that we were like both gutted. Absolutely devastated. And we were so used to us losing last season. The start of it anyway, the end of it, not so much. But yeah, it just feels weird. It felt like a loss. But yeah, it is a game that we definitely should have won. Or I say on paper should have won. But to be honest, Birmingham made a great account for themselves. I thought they deserved the point. I don't really think we did enough to for the 3 points. And actually, I think Heke might have made a couple of bad decisions in this game. But you've got to let him off because Heke has been absolutely fantastic since coming back to the first team.
Yeah, he's more than earned his stripes. He's more than earned a mistake or two. I agree. I think with a little bit of our selection didn't quite work, but he's forced his hand as well with all the injuries. There's not much he can do about that. Yeah, I thought the draw was probably a fair result. Just annoyed me. Like you say, I'm not used to us not winning at home anymore, and so a bit of frustration coming out from me. But we go again. We've got to try and make up for it. We're still top of the league. It's easy to get bogged down in draws to Birmingham when you think you should win the game. You have to take the rough with a smooth.
Absolutely, and you're taking the smooth with the rough here because it's all Ollie, Ollie, Ollie. Oi, oi, oi. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. I love the fact that everybody's welcoming Ollie with open arms. Now, Ollie, I want you to tell me what happened the last time we played them at our ground.
So, the last time we played QPR at Bramall Lane, let me take you back. April 2022. There's just been an international break. United have come back on the Saturday and they've not been very good. They've put in a poor performance and they've had a disappointing result. On the Tuesday night, we've got to bounce back. And what's the game? It's QPR at home. Sound familiar? So it was rearranged from COVID, this one. Both teams were having to fit in a lot of games around this time. I know United in particular, we felt like we were playing Saturday midweek every week. And so this one felt huge because it was two playoff contenders, lots of games to play, and a win would make a huge difference. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, Filip Juremovic made his first start for United and actually really impressed us in this game. I thought he was very good. Didn't last the 90, but what he did show us was a lot of fight, a lot of commitment, and some really good defending. So United won the game. We won it 1-0, and we won it with a really clever goal. It was a corner routine that we tried 2 or 3 times around this time last season. Fleck taking the corner, knocks it to the edge of the box. There's a lovely step over from Baldock, and then Norwood just fires it in. It's through a lot of bodies, so the keeper probably should have done better, but we didn't care. It was a great goal from us. Really nice to see that paying off. And then after that, to be honest, if I'm remembering correctly, it were a pretty poor game. I remember United keeping them out, not really being troubled by what is an exciting front line for QPR. And we just took out, did what we had to do and won the game. It was massive for us. That it's a really important 3 points. It really allowed us to kick on at the end of the last season. It put us in pole position for getting that playoff spot that we finally took. And ultimately, it was probably a signal of the end for QPR. They never really recovered from losing at Bramall Lane, and they dropped and ended up nowhere near the playoffs. So another one like that, I think, would do the perfect job for United.
Yeah, we would. We really would. Whatever happens, we need a result in this game. We need a win. And Hecky said in his pre-match presser, he did say, we don't care about the draws. We'd much rather win 2 games and lose 1 than get 3 draws. And I think we all completely agree. Mathematicians will say that's the best thing to do. So yeah, also, we did the double over from last season as well, didn't we?
Oh, God, did we do the double over him last season. That win at home, I've said it was boring. I've said it was dull. Said we got the job done. Away from home, me and Hal went to that one together. We were at QPR. It was a Friday night. Now, that was a game. That was glorious. That was not dull. That was not boring. That was fun, and I loved it. And I'm still buzzing about it about 6 months later. That's how good it was.
To be honest, I went to the Birmingham City away match when we came back from 1-0 down and scored two goals towards the end of the game. And that was one of my favourite away games for a while. I think the atmosphere just tells you whether it's a good away game or not. It doesn't necessarily need to be 2 amazing goals, 4 amazing goals or whatever. The atmosphere tells you if it's a great away day. And we had a fair few last season.
We did, particularly towards the end of last season. We'd started to falter. That QPR game felt as though it was a massive one because we'd not been great away from home. And the limbs in that away end were awesome. That was just a great away day. Such a good away day. It was even worth getting home on a megabus at about 4:30 in the morning because trains had stopped running from London. Definitely worth it. Would I do it again?
Not sure. I'm not sure if I would have enjoyed that as much as you enjoyed it, but yeah, the game was certainly one to be enjoying. Now I'm going to move on and talk about team news right now. And as I said last week, Jayden Bogle, Billy Sharp, and Adam Davis were all in contention. They all were on the bench. Jayden Bogle got on, Billy Sharp got on. Obviously, Adam Davis didn't, other than unless Wes is going to pull a muscle or whatever. But yeah, Jayden Bogle and Billy Sharp coming back was great for the Birmingham game. Also, players missing, and Nell is obviously still going to be injured. But Hecky did say that for the Stoke game, he could be back. Now, he's not definitely going to be back, but he could be back. I don't know whether that's Hecky with a bit of a smokescreen there. Max Lowe after the World Cup at the earliest. It's probably going to be kind of a month after the World Cup. Jack Robinson, Jack O'Connell, Koulibaly, John Fleck, Ben Osborne, Enna Stevens, Kieran Clark. Out of all those, Ben Osborne is looking like he's the closest to being fit, but we've still not heard a lot about him for quite a while. Now, let me pop up on screen what I think the team's going to be. One last thing before I do that is just the fact that Hecky was saying that there was no more injury problems. So that is great stuff. So here we go. This is my team to play in this game. So we've got Wes in the goal, Bash, Egan, Norrington Davies. I'm going for Bogle at left wing back. And Baldock at right wing back. That's where Bogle came on, and that's where I think we did struggle. Kadra did as well as what he could do, but he is not a defender. He was kind of in the middle of both, I think. I don't know. Sometimes it looked like we were playing four at the back, but I do think we were trying to play wing backs, and Kadra seemed in the middle between kind of being an attacker and being a defender. So, yeah, that is that. That's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments right now. And I'm going to pass you over to Ollie to talk about the opposition.
Yeah, I would say I agree, to be honest with you, Nick. I think that should be the United team, particularly that point about left wing back. I think we were a bit exposed there, and I'm worried about this QPR team getting at us down that side. So certainly think you've got the right team out there, and I can see a few in the comments saying similar. So on to the QPR news. So QPR have got a few injuries at the moment. They've got Taylor Richards, who they've got in on loan. He's been out since August, and he's going to be out for another few weeks yet. Jake Clark-Salter started at the weekend. Obviously, we had him very much rumoured to be coming to us in the summer. He chose QPR. He came back from injury at the weekend, but he went off after about an hour with cramp. I'd be shocked to see him play another game quite so soon when he's returning from injury. Rob Dickey, he's been out a while. Could he come in at centre-half? I don't think he's ready yet. We might see him on the bench, but I wouldn't expect to see him in their first team. So what do I expect the QPR team to be? So they play a 4-3-3. They've got a manager who joined them in June, Mick Beale. And hilariously, given that he joined in June, he is the 11th longest reigning championship manager after today's news and the sacking of Chris Wilder. So that shows you what the life looks like of a championship manager. But what does their team look like? In goal, I think it's going to be Seny Dieng. Really good keeper, fantastic shot stopper. Can be prone to being a little erratic. So it'd be interesting to see if he has one of those nights against us. But I think on the most part, I'd expect him to be good. A back four, I think they'll have Ethan Laird. I think they'll have Leon Balogun. Now, Balogun, he is old. So he's another one where you've got that conversation of, is he going to play 3 games in a week? They do play again Friday night, but I expect him to be in that team. I think Jimmy Dunn is going to come in and replace Jake Clark-Salter, just as I referenced before. Got a left back, Kenneth Paul, decent player. I expect him to start again. A midfield 3 of Stefan Johansson, who, you know, we've seen a lot of him in this division, been there a long time, done everything. I think you can probably get round him. He's not quite got the legs he once had, but still an effective player. Sam Field will be the deepest of their 3, be a little bit more defensively solid. They'll probably be looking to him to be that real buffer ahead of their back 4. Tim Iregbunam, I've tried my best, and I apologise to anybody watching because it wasn't fantastic, but I did my best. And then their front 3, I think, is really exciting. There's some talk about whether or not Lyndon Dykes is going to play. He came off the bench at the weekend. I'd expect him to still be on the bench because I think they're going to go for their pace, their real tricky, smaller attackers. I think it's going to be Ilias Chair. I think he's the one that we're going to be most worried about. He's going to be running at our left wing back. That's why I wouldn't have Kadra there. That's why I think Bogle's the better option. On the right wing, I think they'll have Chris Willock, a fabulous player. If anybody's watched the predictions that myself and Nick do every week, I spend most of my time talking about Chris Willock because I just think he's a hell of a player. Then up front, Tyler Roberts scored at the weekend and he'll be wanting to keep that going. So a really dangerous front 3. I think we've really got to be at our best to keep them quiet. But, you know, I still fancy that we can do a little bit of that. I think we can keep them quiet. I think Baldock up against Willock is a really interesting battle. And hopefully Bogle can hold his own against Chair and really try to keep them quiet. So that's what we expect from QPR.
Prediction video, you say?
I did. Prediction video, Nick. Did we do one yesterday?
There it is. There it is. Game week 13, score predictions. Me and Ollie did that yesterday live. It was a record number of people in the stream, if I remember rightly.
Oh, it was packed, Nick. It was absolutely packed. I couldn't believe the numbers that we'd got.
Sunday at 5 p.m. Who'd have thought that's when everybody wanted to watch a score prediction video?
Yeah, I know. Anybody would think that we'd had to rush it out early because I wanted to go for a curry,
Yeah.
Who knows
silly.
what it was?
Exactly. But yeah, if you would like to go after this and watch the score predictions video, we would both really appreciate it because as you probably guessed, we were being a little bit sarcastic then. Anyway, let's move on and let's talk about James Linnington, shall we?
Oh, let's talk about James Linnington.
Would you like me to take the lead on James Linnington?
I would indeed, because I know very little about James Linnington.
Well, all I know from him is that Hal used to go on about him all the time. He refereed the Blades this season against Sunderland. The Blades against Sunderland, our 2-1 win, and sent one of the Sunderland players off for a foul on James McAtee. So another referee, 2 in a row, that actually have done us favours this season. So hopefully he does us another favour because we may need it.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think any refereeing favours that could come our way would very much be appreciated. But, I think in that Sunderland game, he did get those big decisions right. I think he did. It was the right decision to stand there, led off. McAtee done really well to get him behind. So hopefully, he's somebody who's going to be competent. He's not going to be somebody that we're going to be coming out afterwards complaining about, telling everybody how bad he was. So we've got to just hope for the best with him.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And moving on from that, let's talk for a second about all things score predictions. Now, if you haven't seen our score predictions video already, which most people haven't, you won't have seen what we said last night, and we're going to go for the exact same scores. So I'm going for a 2-1 Blades win. I think we need whatever we can do to get a win in this game to get us back up and running. That's what we need to do. What about you, Ollie?
Yeah, it's controversial, but I have often shown myself to be pessimistic, Blade. That's who I've been. Unfortunately, I can see us losing this one. I think that QPR have got a really, really good front line. I think I was a little bit put off by United looking a little bit disjointed at the weekend. I think that left wing back position could be a real issue. I think QPR might have a bit much for us and they might be 2-1 only because of our injuries. I think on a normal day at Bramall Lane, I'm always going to back us to win this season. But with our injuries, I think it's tough. I think it's a tough ask.
It is. And we'd had so many injuries before, but now we've got them in key areas where we've got no cover whatsoever. And really, if this was any other game and we had the cover, I would not want Jayden Bogle to be starting in this game because it's rushing him back way too quick. But needs must because I really enjoyed watching Jayden Bogle come on. But at the same time, I don't want to put him back to square one. But I think we do need to play him in this game.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I don't want him injured. That's the main thing. I think getting him back fit is really, really key. I think he's a fantastic player. He makes such a difference to United going forwards. And so I don't want to risk him getting injured, but I just don't see another alternative to who plays left back if he's not there. We really are missing something in that defence. When Kadri was there, he was trying his best, doing what he could, but it just didn't work for us. So I think I would take that gamble if we're not going to try a back four.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Now let's move on to player connections. Now, we don't give player connections anymore. Well, maybe 1 or 2. We like you guys to give them in the comments. So I'm going to throw 2 at you, Ollie, and I'm going to ask for 1 back. Paddy Kenny and Tony Curry. Big one from the past.
Curry, big one indeed.
I'd never even heard of him, to be honest. I just put it into Google and it spat out Tony Curry. I'm not sure where he played, what he did, what he's still doing now.
Yeah, just a bit before our time, weren't he? So how were we supposed to know who he was? It's not like there's a big stand with his name on or anything.
The one that I sit in as well.
Well, you don't see the sign then, really, do you? I'm looking at it from a distance.
That's true. That is true, mate. What I'm going to do, before I ask you for your player connection, I'm going to ask you for a manager connection.
A manager connection.
It's the easiest possible manager connection we could ever have.
Is it? And I'm going to drag this out because I'm panicking in the back of my head. The back of my head's going, you've got this wrong, Goal. You're going to say something. It's going to be stupid. Is it Warnock?
It's Neil Warnock. Well done. Well done. Well done. Yes, it was Neil Warnock. Now, let's just brush past that one really quickly. And I want just one more from you before we ask the comments.
Yeah, I'm going to throw Sean Derry out there. Sean Derry, of course, who has been around the block as much as Neil Warnock has. So he's probably the easiest player connection we can find. See, James was straight in. He knew immediately that it was Warnock. Oh, yeah. I went to his night at the City Hall and I still can't remember if he'd managed QPR or not.
Did he talk about QPR?
Not even a little bit.
Right, okay, that's good. Because if he started talking about QPR and you still couldn't remember, we've got problems.
Imagine if he'd done entire night, just a QPR night with Neil Warnock, and I'd still not known.
In Sheffield, yeah. Probably. Anyway, I think we should leave it there. Make sure you leave your play connections in the comments. People love to do the play connections, and so do I. I wish we could do a full episode on play connections because I love looking back into the past and enjoying some of the players that we saw play and some of the terrible players because it's always funny to have a laugh about them. Anyway, thank you very much, Ollie, for being here as always.
Thank you very much for having me, Nick. Much enjoyed. And yeah, whenever Hal's not available, I'm more than happy to be the man who steps in.
Absolute legend. Thanks a lot, mate. And see you guys for the match reaction.